Nowadays, when people hear the word cat, they tend to only think of the domestic house cat, as shown in these two photos. However, the cat is a large family of species whose origin ranges from roughly 11 million years ago and includes animals such as this lynx and this ocelot. In present day, the cat group has many species, 37 in fact, and these species derive from 8 different lineages. These lineages are as follows: Panthera, bay cat, caracal, ocelot, lynx, puma, Asian leopard cat, and the domestic cat, commonly known as the house cat. Each lineage was separated based on their similarities in morphological, biological, and physiological characteristics that were exclusive to their lineage.
A distinctive feature of cats is their sandpaper-like tongue and their retractable claws. It is thought that millions of years ago cats used to live in trees, therefore they had long tails and they are much smaller. Natural selection is the process by which plants and animals that can adapt to changes in their environment are able to survive and reproduce, while those that cannot adapt do not survive. Cats reproduce just like humans do. But when they have babies, there's usually a lot more than one. Variations, mutations, and pressures of environmental factors are the driving forces behind natural selection. Variations and mutations are either more favorable or less favorable depending on the environmental factors. During reproduction, these traits that cause the variations or are the mutations may either be passed on or not, depending on whether they are favorable. Natural selection changes populations over many generations. Thanks to advances in technology, it has now been made possible for scientists to create a clear family tree for cats. This family tree and the DNA evidence link all cats back to a panther-like predator that lived in Southeast Asia 10.8 million years ago. This was their felid ancestor. From this ancestor, the 8 lineages came. The bay cat ancestor dates back to 9.4 million years ago. The caracal ancestor dates back to 8.5 million years ago. The ocelot ancestor dates back to 8 million years ago. The lynx ancestor dates back to 7.2 million years ago. The puma ancestor dates back to 6.7 million years ago. The leopard cat ancestor dates back to 6.2 million years ago. And our domestic cat ancestor, our house cat ancestor, dates back to 3.4 million years ago. Comparative anatomy. Comparative anatomy indicates that various organisms share a common ancestor. Homologous structures, or structures which are similar in different species because the species have common descent, are great indicators of comparative anatomy. Cats are great examples of comparative anatomy. They have many homologous structures. Their skulls are so similar that a scientist cannot tell the difference between a lion skull and a tiger skull. If they were to put a house cat skull next to it, the only difference would be its size. The larger skull of the lions and tigers is very beneficial to them in their environment because they are hunters, and they need a large jaw to be able to handle a lot of food and eat a large prey. These small skulls of house cats is beneficial to them because they eat regular cat food. They don't have to go hunt for food. Also, they can fit in small spaces, which they very much like to do, and just makes them look cuter. Speciation is the evolutionary process by which new biological species arise. Geographic isolation is just what it sounds like. It's isolated by the geographical setting. So in the example of the cats, as sea levels rose and fell, cats migrated to new continents, becoming geographically isolated, and developed new species. When they are geographically isolated, just like normal, a mutation would occur randomly, and that mutation could be favorable to that area, and so it would stick. Due to natural selection, the offspring would then carry on that trait, that favorable mutation, and when the species returned to where they came from, they wouldn't recognize the other cats as the same species because of the different traits, and therefore they wouldn't mate with the other species. An example of my life of evolution is on a road trip to San Francisco. I see fields of different types of plants, and as I get farther up north, farther into a wetter environment, I see different plants. This is because of evolution and natural selection. The plants that live down here in Southern California, the more deserty area, don't need as much water and can live under those conditions, unlike the ones up north. If you understand evolution, it is easy to understand why technology has advanced or evolved so much today. Supply and demand, or survival of the fittest, has caused computers to go from the size of entire rooms to fitting in your backpack, and phones, once huge and clunky, now skinnier than ever. As the southern wind sings again, and I lullaby.